LCD Sound System. This band, led by James Murphy, has been around since 2002. They've been described as dance punk, post-funk, electric rock, and more. They seem to belong in a genre of their own, blending elements of dance music, funk grooves, and electronic and rock instrumentation. Where now he's the frontman of an incredibly successful Grammy-winning band, selling out venues like Madison Square Garden. For the majority of his life, he didn't know what he was doing or where he was going.
I was really a failure, like really a failure. Like I dropped out of college to make music, but then I stopped making music. I mean, like really like just, like not even an epic failure, just sort of like a sad, pathetic failure, just like kind of a real epic failure you could get behind. Like I tried this big thing and it failed and I lost everything. No, I just kind of like frittered my years away doing nothing and being in dead-end relationships and dead-end bands and stuff.
For a while, he was drifting around DJing and doing odd jobs, until he made a song he felt he really connected with. Finally, at age 35, he released his first single, Losing My Edge, which was a hit, and jump-started the band LCD Sound System.
I made that song and everybody thought it was terrible. I remember playing it for people and they would be like, they'd give you this face, like, you know, like kind of like they don't want to say anything, and then ask you about like technical things, like, oh, what are the drums? And you're like, okay, you don't like this. And so we put it out, and with literally the people from the label, like my two partners, Tim and John, were just like, they afterwards said, like, we just thought you were making a big mistake and you were gonna look like an idiot, and we just kind of felt bad for you. But then I started meeting people. That's when I started making friends and meeting people that were other musicians, and it was just like kind of the story, partially the story of their lives too. And they were just like, yeah, it just kind of felt like, you know, this is our lives, kind of this sad, you know, like wondering what to do with yourself kind of period of time. Oh, and then I had a job. It was the first time I'd made music my whole life, but it was the first time I made music that was like, where I wasn't trying to be another thing that I thought I'm supposed to be. That I was just trying to actually be as much myself as I possibly could. Like the first time I'd ever done that. And I was actually rewarded for it, which was remarkable. Like actually people were liking it.
If he hadn't released that song, LCD Sound System certainly wouldn't have achieved the level of success that they have today. When you're able to put yourself out there and communicate your story, people will be there to hear it and relate. I know I do. That feeling of aimlessness and not knowing exactly where you're going. But personal success can be found at any age. And in a time where everything seems to be moving so fast, that's a nice sentiment to hear.